So we got another example of United States politicians fucking over the average person here. Rob Bresnahan, ladies and gentlemen, sold his stock in Centene, the country's largest Medicaid provider, right before voting to strip healthcare from 17 million Americans. Honestly, that might be up there with Donald Trump's crypto scam, right? I mean, that's pretty goddamn bad, if you ask me. And the worst part about this is that this dude's probably gonna get off scot-free, right? Obviously, it's a violation of the Stock Act to use insider trading, but everybody's known about this bill for a while now. It's just a matter of him using his power to make himself richer, which is not necessarily legal, right? Which is why people are saying that politicians should maybe not be allowed to trade stocks, which is something that, I go back and forth with here. But I'll tell you what, this is a clear example of corruption here because he knew what he was going to be doing, right? He knew that by voting in favor of the big, beautiful bill, it's amazing, it's wonderful, that he'd make a lot of money here. Now, just how much money did this guy make? Well, he actually didn't make that much money, right? He traded between, I think it's 1,000 to 15,000 US dollars here, despite, selling that stock. And so, I mean, if the stock went down 40%, like, what is he making? Like, let's say $8,000. Right. It's not a lot. He's not making a fortune off of this here, right? But it just shows the types of corruption that are in the United States Congress, right? And how they don't really care about you. All they care about is making their own money, right? And that's not, everyone, but that's a good chunk of them, right? And, a lot of them just have petty grievances, or it's just a matter of going back and forth. Oh, we don't like the big, beautiful bill because it's, it's Donald Trump's bill, right? It's like, dude, like, it doesn't matter. I mean, think it could cure cancer, and you'd probably still vote against it because it's Donald Trump's bill. You know what I'm saying? Right? At the end of the day, both parties are corrupt. And I think that we know that. Now, this is a very, very bad bill. I'm not going to say that it's not a horrible bill, right? But, it's really not that much worse than a lot of the other, reconciliation bills or, budgets that we've seen coming out of the United States here in the past, few decades or longer than that. Oftentimes, they're just made to, enrich the wealthy. Tax cuts for them, screwing over the average person, which is you and I, ladies and gentlemen. It's very, very horrible. This one's actually particularly bad, though. I mean, when you look at the cuts, you got cuts like the CHIP program, Medicaid, that count up to 17 million people. I mean, so that's another level of bad, which is why people have been so critical of this bill here, as it's been obviously passing the House and then going to the Senate and passing back to the House again, passing, and now it's going to go to Donald Trump's desk, which I imagine July 4th, I probably will sign it today, if not in the next, couple days here. So pretty bad, not looking good, guys, not looking good. I've only seen a couple good things in the bill. Like, one of them is giving, I believe it's $1,000 to every newborn in the country for the next 4 years in the S&P 500 and having invested. And like that's a pretty good policy, right? Because the kids just keep that in their accounts till they're 70. It's like you got almost $800,000, right? Like that's a good chunk of money that you're never going to see from Social Security. So, very unfortunate, but this is the state of the country, the state of the union, state of affairs. We've lost our revolutionary zeal. Happy 4th of July, by the way. But this country's going downhill fast. I don't think our founders would have stood up for this, right? I think that they would sort of see this as oppression because they're not in charge. Well, our founders probably would have liked this because, they said the whole purpose of government was to protect the minority of the opulent against the majority, right? That's like written like down. Like we know that this is things that like they were thinking, like James Madison, for example. So maybe they would have liked it, right? But I'll tell you this, the average person here, right, who was fighting that revolution, they would have despised this, right? Because their power is being stripped from them, right? This is not representation, right? No taxation without representation. You're going to get taxed, you don't get represented. And this guy was going to vote this way regardless of you. He doesn't care about his constituency, right? I mean, let's look at it that way. I'm sure he probably didn't even think about this bill. All he did was vote. And he voted in favor of his own interests, which is bad. So, that's just one example there. Founders would be pissed at this, but it's what it is. What are we going to do, ladies and gentlemen? All you can do is vote your politicians, make up your own mind, do your own research, and pray that others do the same. So with that said, guys, be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. Get us 130,000 subscribers. Jesus, wouldn't that be great? 130 subscribers. That's the next goal here. 130 subscribers. And we'll bring you some content here in the future. So enjoy your 4th of July. And remember what this country was founded on. Some revolutionary zeal. Have a good day, ladies and gentlemen.